Yep. Citizens feel increasingly alienated and ignored by the enlightened central government. And isn't it convenient because you've got all these proto-Marxist infiltrators in the court of King Louis the whoever. Who do the people blame? The king, right? Sure. The people blame the king. Then you have Louis the 15th die. Louis the 16th ascends to the throne. He's a child. He's an absolute child. But who do these proto-Marxists pin the blame on for all this? This kid and his 18-year-old wife. They're the ones who are doing this evil king, and then all of these proto-Marxists just sit back and watch this deal coast. They set the whole thing up. In the United States, in the 20th and early 21st century, taxes skyrocket while labor participation rate as a percent of the populace drops, and that whole labor participation rate as a percent of the populace. Just look at what Obama has done to that. It's 8% unemployment, you're out of your mind. It's 20% if it's 1. They keep faking these statistics because people just stop working. And then as soon as they drop off of the unemployment rolls after 99 weeks, well, they're out of the workforce. They don't count against the calculation anymore. That half of this country just isn't even working. They're either on welfare or collecting welfare. I mean, it's turned, in 3.5 years, it's turned into a massive, massive welfare state. And it is all completely intentional. If you think that Barack Obama actually wants to create jobs and put people to work, you are dumber than a bag of hammers. This is all being done intentionally. This business of sitting around watching the news, oh, Obama's going to make jobs. Obama is the enemy, and he is trying to destroy this country. For the love of God, Internet, wake the hell up. My goodness. Washington, D.C. becomes more and more Marxist. And the people are isolated from and ignored by their representatives. I mean, I appreciate what Julian was saying about we gotta write our congressman. Hopefully you burn a few calories when you do that, because they don't care. They do not care. You have to understand that Washington, D.C. right now is hopeless. The horse is dead. You stand over it and you beat it all you want. And you have rah-rah cheer, oh boy, the horse is going to get up and run like Secretariat. No, it's not. It's dead. You've got to get a new horse in, or there's no hope. Sorry, I know that that's bleak. And, oh, we got to have hope. You've got to have hope, but you can't have hope in something that is impossible and futile. You have to refocus your energies and that hope and that faith into something that's going to work. And that cesspool in Washington, D.C., as it stands now, is not reformable, and it will never work. There's going to have to be a hard reset. You're going to have to get all of those people out of there, every last one of them, at the same time, and repopulate it from scratch. Sorry, but that's the situation. It's our fault because we let it get to this. We let it get to this, and now we've made this bed, and by God, we're going to have to sleep in it. Not stand over the dead horse and rah-rah and wave our flags. That's not going to work. In the Vendee, oh, get this. Agitators are sent from Paris to infiltrate the outlying communities and gain support for an overthrow of the ancien regime and a revolution. The Vendee is initially in favor of this revolution because they're suffering with this economic stuff just like everybody else in France is. And they're saying, okay, yeah, we need some change here. And they use the vague slogan, liberty, equality, fraternity, or brotherhood. So we have infiltrators ginning up resent and using these vague terms, liberty, equality, fraternity. Now the United States. Community agitators are sent to the urban areas, and the media is co-opted as a propaganda arm. Fed up with profligate spending, Barack Obama usurps in an election the White House with majority support. I do believe that more than half of the imbeciles in the United States who voted for that piece of crap in 2008. Okay, we have to deal with that. Half of the population was sucked in by these communist jackals. He usurped the White House with majority support, propped up by the media, boy, that's the understatement of the evening, with the vague slogan of hope and change. It's basically the same thing, especially the part about the agitators. Okay? It's all the same. The father of lies is the father of all lies, and his tactics are surprisingly consistent if you will just study history. In the Vendee in 1790, after this revolution has begun, subsidiarity is turned on its head. Instead of power being concentrated at the local level and diminishing as you go up, what happens? The triangle is turned upside down. The power is concentrated in Paris. Local governance is either abolished or replaced by proxies and operatives of the central government. The honeymoon with the revolution is over in 1790, similar to where we are now. I think it's fair to say that the Obama honeymoon is over. There are people waking up. The question is now, are we even going to have fair elections? I don't think so. I don't think so. So does it matter if 70% of the populace wakes up? It doesn't matter if you have a tyranny in the central government who doesn't recognize or allow fair elections to happen. And you know, Marxists, not known for their election integrity at all. In the United States, subsidiarity has been trampled. States' rights are trampled, and the executive branch either disregards or coerces the other two branches with ample cooperation. And aren't we living in the aftermath of that? What is the date today? This is July 12th, 2012 that this is being recorded. We're a little over a week out from the Supreme Court decision where Chief Justice John Roberts apparently wrote both opinions. Wow, wow. Tell me that he wasn't coerced. And it's also, and I'm not giving him a free ride either, because he is a miserable, trembling coward and a disgrace of a man and a disgrace to America. So here we are, kind of in the same situation. The honeymoon is now over in the United States with Obama. In the Vendee in 1790, the government, the revolutionary Republican government, the terminology, you're going to have to stay with me here. The bad guys in Paris are the Republican government, okay? That's the bad guys. The government becomes opaque and secretive. Sound familiar? 2009 and forward, government becomes extremely opaque, lawless, and secretive, and that man should either spend the rest of his life in the Supermax at Florence, or he should be executed after being convicted of, let's see, what capital crimes has Eric Holder committed? He has engaged in mass murder. He is engaged in shadow war against the sovereign nation of Mexico, and he is engaging in treason and sedition against the United States of America. 3 capital offenses. 3. Life in Florence would be charitable. It would be charitable, Mr. Holder. Do you hear me? I hope so. And Barnhardt, Lone Tree, Colorado, anytime. In the Vendee on July 12, 1790, the revolutionary government declares war on the church. And understand, when I say the church, I mean the Catholic Church. France was one of the most heavily Catholic nations on earth. Almost everyone in France was either practicing or ethnically Catholic. Okay? France has been called the elder sister of the church in Europe, okay? So July 12, 1790, the revolutionary government declares war on the church. Church property is nationalized and religious vows are abolished. Clergy are now employees of the state. This is a quote from Fernand Mouret. Quote, "It was a mistake, a deliberate and not accidental mistake, which was to oblige the clergy in order to remain faithful to the church and to its priestly vows, to refuse to obey the state." It was a deliberate and not accidental mistake to force the church and the clergy to have to pick between Christ and the state. Sound familiar? February 2012, the Obama regime, only 9 months from a re-election, are required under the Obamacare insurance requirements. Are you aware of this? Every single person who buys a private health insurance policy, no matter male, female, no matter how old you are going to see, I don't know when the start date is, if it's 2013 or 2014, you are going to see on your monthly statement of your bill from your insurance company a $1 abortion surcharge. Every single person in this country who buys private health insurance is going to be paying for the cult of child sacrifice, worshiping Moloch. Do you understand this? Every one of you. And if you don't have insurance, you're going to have to pay tribute to Caesar Obama. And that tribute is going to be used to pay for abortion. Do you understand? This is mortal sin, as in severing your relationship with Jesus Christ. Don't kid yourself. You have to pick. Read the scriptures. You have to choose in this world. It is either him or it is the enemy. You are either with Jesus Christ or you are against him. There is no half measure. There's no, well, you don't understand. I have to do this or else the IRS is going to come after me. Then you worship the IRS. Pagan. Pagan. This forces the church and the laity. Don't forget about the laity. They can't just carve out an exception for, people who work directly for a parish or something like that. No. Bishops, excellencies, yeah, I'm talking to you. You are not permitted to carve out an exception. You are the shepherds of the entire flock. You are the shepherds of the laity. Feed my sheep. Where have you heard that before? Peter, do you love me? Yes, Lord. Feed my sheep. What is the matter with you? What is the matter with you, Cardinal Dolan? What is the matter with you, Cardinal O'Malley? No carving out exceptions. You cannot permit the laity to be forced into mortal sin by the state. You either stand and fight or you sit your ass down. So as I said, this forces the church and the laity to have to choose between obedience and fidelity to Jesus Christ or to the state. One or the other, either Christ or the state, must be thrown off. And I use the term thrown off very deliberately. Where have we heard the term thrown off before? In the Declaration. In the Vendee on November 27, 1790, all clergy are required to swear an oath of allegiance to the revolution or lose their positions and salaries. Almost all refuse. 5 out of 6 was the proportion, and are subsequently accused of being warmongers and fanatics. The people support the clergy and despise the juring priests and bishops as betrayers of Christ. Here's where, sadly, history begins to diverge. Do you think 5 out of 6 priests and bishops today are going to stand and fight? Sadly, the answer is no. No. The church has been massively infiltrated by Marxism and recruited an enormous amount of homosexuals. This has led to a massive crisis of faith. These men, they're not going to stand. September 20th, 1791, divorce is legalized in France. Interesting. War on marriage and family is always a top priority of totalitarian regimes, as the family is the prime threat to tyranny. Destroy the family and the tyrant rolls. If there's no men to hang around and defend the family, if men don't even care about their family, urban inner cities, do you think that they don't want the state to come in and take care of all of these women that they're having sex with and the children that are produced by that sex? Well, of course, that's what they want. So that's why the Marxists must begin driving that wedge into the family. And it starts with divorce. That was the first step. Here's a great quote from a bishop at the time. This is a very good explanation of the whole, well, Jesus said we have to render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. If I hear that one more time from somebody, I'm going to absolutely pull my hair out. Jesus Christ gave the most explicit commandment to render unto Caesar that which was Caesar's, and himself gave the example in loyally following the precept by performing a miracle to pay the tribute given. However, that authority has limits beyond which it cannot go. There are sacred objects over which it may not hold power, and all the measures it would undertake to the prejudice of the spiritual authority should be regarded only as errors into which it has fallen, and not as laws that it could have prescribed. We are therefore commanded to ignore any laws that violate the natural law which comes from God. Any law which is not in congruence with the natural law, ladies and gentlemen, is no law at all. You need not follow it. You are morally obliged not to follow it. Do you have the stones? Do you have the stones to stand in civil disobedience? Do you have the stones to stop paying taxes? It's up to you. I do. I've declared a federal tax strike. Internal Revenue Service, you're not getting one more penny from me. Are we clear? Not one more cent. And I encourage the rest of you to follow my example and to stop paying federal taxes. Ann Barnhardt, Lone Tree, Colorado, anytime.